What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the left side of the map in the blue color. Being an absolute troll picking Gaia because he's never picked it before. His name is Rapl. His opponent today in the red color, no longer playing Odin. His name is Bird, and he is playing Zeus. We've got a little bit of a spicy one here. I don't think we normally don't see Bird playing Zeus. We normally don't see Rapl playing Gaia, but it's always fun watching top players play off-civs because you get to see the god in a way that isn't normally played, and it can be very, very interesting. As we do see, look, Bird completely listening to me. Look at this start from Bird, though. I think when you have only when you don't have a perfect food start, by a perfect food start for Zeus, I mean about, I think it's 800 food. It might be 1,000 food. I can't exactly remember. But if you don't have a perfect food start with Zeus, it doesn't really matter how you start the game. You basically need to put 3 villagers onto wood, or if you start with early wood storehouse, you can go 3 villagers food, 2 villagers onto wood, and then move on to your second hunt over here, which seemingly is very, very low. With only two giraffe, but that's how you get through the early game with Zeus on these lower hunt maps, and it's going to be a bit slower, but it's going to be fine most of the time because your opponent is also going to be struggling somewhat. However, the problem that we're going to be running into here for Bird is Gaia thrives on low hunt maps, possibly thrives more than Ra. Bit controversial to say, but the low hunt maps for Gaia are... What? Why'd you delete the... Why'd you delete this? Is this going to be idle time now? Wait, why'd you... Oh. It's up. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. He wanted the mana on the top side of the gold mine, not the bottom side of the gold mine, ladies and gentlemen. Very specific building architecture here, or town planning, I should probably say. As we do see a little bit of idle time here coming through as Rapl moved on to his 4 giraffe, which, as I said, is a problem with those low hunt builds. You have to play them a little bit differently. You've got to take some losses where that's concerned. So as I was saying, arguably, Ra thrives the most on the low hunt maps. If you get a 2 zebra, 2 giraffe oasis, what ends up happening is the Gaia player can get himself up to flood control farms with her economic guild, and that means that you put the farms down, your farms gather much, much faster than your opponents. Not only that, but they're also slightly cheaper because technically it was like 2.5. It's kind of about the same. It's a little, I would say it's a little bit cheaper for Atlanteans to build farms than it is for the Nilla civilizations. However, maybe more so for Gaia because you've got these Gaia forest trees which allow you to gather 7% faster from this tree than regular trees. So you're gathering just that little bit quicker. So we do see villagers now moving forward here for what is this? We see Bolt getting dropped onto the oracle here as the villagers wandering through, going to be gathering this. That's hilarious, Bird. You're a funny dude. Comes forward with his villagers, pushes off the villagers there. The oracle gets bolted, and Bird gets the remnants of this giraffe, and Rapl has to go back to his main base, taking the advantages where they come, as we're seeing Rapl attempt his darndest to get to the classical age, but he is going to be struggling here for sure. Thank you so much for the Prime subscription there, Noblesse Oblige. Thank you. Appreciate you, as Rapl does get himself a 5:30 advance time here on Oasis and does decide to go through Oceanus. Now, this is possibly because Rapl's not a Gaia main, but Leto is arguably the same level of goodness as Prometheus. I'm saying it because the idea of Leto is you're not playing aggressive. So Prometheus is more of an aggressive civilization, whereas Leto is more of a defensive minor god. Prometheus minor god. You know what I'm saying. So when you pick Leto, you're saying I'm going to play defensive. But when you go away, Oceanus, you're saying I really can't do much. I'm just going to be making heroes, and I'm going to be trying to keep them alive and healing them up with the Caladria. Other than that, you can't really do much with Oceanus. But Bird now getting himself a whole bunch of gold. It's looking like he's actually going for a fast second town center. He's actually not wrong about this. There's not a whole lot he can do on this map. Given the situation that he's found himself in from the early stages of the game. He has managed to get a whole bunch of goats, though. But again, it doesn't really matter here because, well, Rapl can just make himself those farms. Problem being that Rapl has not managed to find that many goat, as Bird has possibly found nearly every single one except for, was it 3? 3 for Rapl, the rest for Bird, and he's going to live the dream there. Very, very nice play. As Hermes just about to pop. Going to be a little bit of a late advance here for Bird as well. Maybe he's going to drop down 3 town centers straight away, which I don't think would actually... I actually think that'd be a good idea here. Bring these food villages over to this, or maybe even these wood villages up to this town center here. Then once you're ready, you bring these wood villages, maybe some food villages onto this town center. Then the gold villages pull off here onto the goats. Then you put everyone onto wood. Get yourself farms, and you just play for that. Play for that very, very easy late game in this on this map. Seems like a decent enough try here, but it seems like Bird is not going for that. He's getting out his Odysseus and he's sending his Centaur forward. He's sending his Jason forward. Going to try and put some pressure onto Rapl. But what he's going to find is these forests, this town planning that Rapl has managed to concoct here is going to be more than enough for him to defend. But Rapple's going to be a little bit he's going to be a little bit sad to see that town center is going to be coming up. He does see it though with this oracle, it seems. So no, he doesn't see it because the oracle's sitting there a little bit idle, so he doesn't realize that he needs to be getting a town center. But you know, you can just get economic upgrades here. You can see he's already got plows, he's already got bowsaw and shaft mine. I don't fully suggest that going for both bowsaw and shaft mine early is that important. More important is those farming upgrades and also the speedy villager upgrade. But we see the town center is up. The oracle does spot that. Bird's going to be happily getting himself wood now, starting to put up his own farms. He doesn't have plow just yet, but I'm sure it's going to be coming through very shortly. Still no barracks or stable or archery range just yet, as the villagers going to be putting up walls in the middle of the map on this position here. The Miller going to be chasing this Katoskopos down here, as he does manage to pick this one off. Nope, 1 HP and a dream. Be getting out of there. Oh, no, never mind. Jukey, the Jukes. Bird keeps it alive. Bird is the word. He knows how to do it. He's got those Jukey abilities. We just see this oracle over here on this town center checking it out. Bird now just sitting back here. What's the plan? It seems to me like he's going 2 town center fast mythic here, but he doesn't have that many villages on gold. He is sending villages over to gold. He's getting himself plow now. And what is this? It is an armory. So it should be a fast heroic here. So we have seen this from Zeus a little bit. Fast mythic against a Gaia to just jump straight to the point where Gaia is going to be a little bit weak. But this does give Gaia every opportunity to get all the upgrades that he needs, and I imagine we're going to be seeing that that flood control come through very, very shortly for Rapl. Only problem being that Rapl should be 2 town centers here. The fact that Rapl isn't 2 town centers is actually really, really bad for him. As we are seeing a little bit of micro from both players on this position. The Odysseus going to be taking down the Mermilla here, as the Centaur going to be just simply running around in circles. We see both Mermillas now going to be trying to surround Bird's Centaur, but the micro too good here, as we're seeing the town center attempt to come back up. This final Mermillo will be able to continue chasing the Centaur, as the Odysseus does end up going down. The Centaur here going to get chased down as well. It's trying to see some micro here. There is a Caladria to heal up these units, so microing your Mermillo is actually very, very good here. As we see the Jason getting taken down, the Centaur retreating away. We have ourselves our upgrade just yet. Not just yet. It only costs 160 wood and 228 gold. Is that right? 228 gold. So as soon as you can afford it, grab it, and your food economy skyrockets. You're getting 20% more food income off your farms than your opponent would be, because you've got irrigation and you've got flood control. And that's true bonus because you are Atlantean and you don't have to drop anything off. So the armory is up, military academy coming up as well here, as we might need to see those heroes get reproduced for Bird. Is just now going to sneak a villager around onto this location, going to try and wall this one up as best as he can. Meanwhile, Random Pegasus just floating over this town center, checking it out as best as he can. It's probably going to be a good reason to grab this town center as well. Has Rapl got himself his upgrade? He's forgotten it. Forgotten how, well, maybe not forgotten, maybe just wants the town center first, but it's fine. So just hit the 1 HP Katoskopos with a dream. Try and stop the town center. Medium and Miller is in now for Rapl, as he's going to come through and try and slice that one up. We've got Apollo coming through for Bird. So he's happily sitting on these 2 town centers in his base. Lots of gold remaining in that gold mine on these farms, finishing them up. Nicely placed farms for the most part. Bit of an outlier here, but you know, we can't all be perfect. Sometimes you just misplace your farms. I mean, Rapl's farms, on the other hand, absolutely beautiful because every single one of them is perfect. So this is the difference between Atlantean and everyone else. I was thinking about it. It's been fairly recently, but there was a podcast that I did with Mr. Maybe last year. I can't exactly remember when we did it. But the thing was that he said that what tends to happen is when Atlantean does their farm transition and the Greeks do their farm transition, you see in the resource graphic goes much more in favor of the Atlanteans. And my contention is, I believed what he was saying because it's the Mister initially, but now my contention is, well, maybe it's just because the Greek farms are not placed as well as the Atlantean farms. Greek farms are placed, the Atlantean farms are perfectly placed without any thought. But if you place your Greek farms perfectly, maybe you will see less of a drop-off in food. And that's kind of what we're seeing here from Bird. Difference being when you're playing against Gaia, as Gaia has got all the upgrades for farms available to her in Classical Age. But neither here nor there, as Bird is now ready to advance to the Mythic Age. You see the marker coming up in the corner. I think that it's worthwhile going Hera here. And we're going to be seeing Hephaestus, but I'll say why it's possibly worthwhile going Hera in this position, because when you hit the Mythic Age, that's going to be a timing that Rapl or the Gaia player is going to want to hit here and just start putting as much pressure onto you as possible. Now, the problem is that I think that, well, not the problem. The problem is not here because Rapl is actually not building any military. He's effectively deciding to go 3 town center semi-fast heroic through Rhea, which is actually a good pick because he's going to be able to get the trader onto the Medusa. But had he spammed units right now against Hephaestus, he probably would be able to get a gold starve in this position, especially if he's spamming like Mermillo, and he's going to be able to get to the heroic age a little bit later. But then again, maybe he wants to get into those Contarius Mermillo kind of composition to push through against the Hephaestus of Bird. But Bird is making a fairly good call here to go Hephaestus against what Rapl's doing. Whether or not he scouted exactly what's going on or not is the question, but it doesn't really matter as the army is going to start coming through. We see a fortress coming down as well for Bird. I love this fortress for many, many reasons, but the big reason why it's good is you don't have to use your town center to make those heroes anymore that you're gonna 100% have to make. So we see Rhea come through for Rapl. Fortress will come up. He's going to make himself Bellerophon. He's going to be able to make himself Heracles. He's going to be able to make himself Heliopoli. He is making himself some Toxotes here, which I don't think is that necessary. Especially if you're planning to make the fortress, just make Heliopoli. They're better than Toxotes at this point in the game, for sure. They do more damage, and they have more HP, and they are more cost-effective, and we are, in fact, seeing Heliopoli coming out straight away, so we might be actually seeing Bird go for an Underworld timing here. which is going to be fine. But the thing is that Bird's got now 2 different types of units that are high value trader targets. Do you trader the Colossus or do you trader the Heliopolis? And I think both are actually decent tries, as now we're also seeing Hecate coming through. Hecate is, I would say that Hecate here in this position is a mistake, unarguably a mistake. Your opponent is Zeus. He is in the Mythic Age, meaning he's got access to Heliopoli, he's got access to Colossus, he's got access to Bellerophon, which means your Tartarian Gate is going to do 0 damage most of the time. He's also got access to Underworld, so if he really needs to, he can Underworld back to his home base and take that out, so it's not going to do anything. The more logical choice here would definitely be going Atlas, to give yourself that timing to push. You cast Employ down on this position, and you push through and you take out this. You also get access to the Argus to take out the Colossus, and you also get access to the much more valuable Titan Shield. Titan Shield against any Underworld user is going to be incredibly important, and especially if you're going to go ahead and abuse Gaia to the nth degree with building spam, with Gaia Lush, and it can be very potent in that situation here. As we do see, the Underworld passage is getting cast here. Where is he deciding to go with this? I don't see. Oh, he's going here. He's found one little location, one little spot as the army going to be pulling back. But the army here from Rapl pushing in. We see the Carnivora coming in here as the Heliopoli coming through. Will we see a trader onto this position? No, we do not. We've got the trader onto the Colossus. We're going to see this Tartarian Gate get dropped onto this. I was going to say you should drop this onto the Underworld, but maybe the Colossus is going to be able to take it down. Tartarian Gate does get dropped. Villagers getting pulled, jumping onto said Tartarian Gate. Town center here for Rapl is indeed going to be going down here, but that's not the end of the world for Rapl, as he is going to be going for potential gold stuff. I would assume he's got himself so many Arcus here. This is a classic Atlantean mistake at the lower levels when you're going for these timings. Normally you actually want most of these to be fire siphon and the rest of your units to be melee units, because there's not going to be any units here to really fight, so you just kind of push because they're all kind of dealing with the Tartarian Gate over here. But he does manage to take down the fortress nonetheless with the help of this Colossus. But the Tartarian Gate just about to go down here. It's got 100 HP remaining, but all the villages have been finished off here. And not only that, the Tartarian Gate actually does heal back up very slowly, though it is seemingly looking like the Manticore and the town center will be able to finish this one off somewhat. Actually, they're not targeting it down at all anymore. So we do see, wait, how? How are you building here? Oh, there's no buildings here. This is a graphical bug? Maybe? It's I don't understand. There's Gaia Lush here and the buildings are getting thrown up. What? Because it takes ages for this to get cleaned up. Bird in the chat? Do you know something that we don't know? This has got to be a graphical bug. Over here it's getting cleaned up. Over here it's not. You see these buildings getting cleaned up over here as Rapl's going to be trying to make an attack onto this town center. I like this palace placement. You can actually utilize the... it's a bit ceasefire here, but you can use this forest to shoot over it with fire siphon. Some walls here would be very good. Bird is now going to be up to 4 town centers. He's going to be able to take this location here. We can see a cheeky Carnivora and Arcus raid onto this location as Rapl is seemingly looking like he's in a half decent position, but the problem being that he's down population here. And Gaia being down population is very different to everyone else being down. Not necessarily everyone else being down population, but if maybe the Zeus player has down population, he's not really out of the game. But if Gaia's down population, he might be. But Bird has not been able to really produce units just yet. Maybe he's going to spend all of those resources right away. Or maybe he decides to go for a Titan here. Because he's got the resources to go for it. And he's not spending them. So that would make a lot of sense here if he's going to decide to do that, as the Colossus, Rapl does realize it can actually heal himself. But too little too late, as the Palace on the front does end up coming up over here. As over here we see the champion Arcus coming in. Rapl's trying to do the, what is it called? It's called orb walking in League of Legends, but effectively it's where you cancel the wind down animation to move your archers and basically make them more effective. But this doesn't work in Age of Mythology. You can't cancel the wind down animation of an archer, like on Age of Empires 4, for example. But Rapl's been playing some Age of Empires 4. Filthy traitor. Everybody, you can all call him out right now. And now we see the Colossus taking this town center down. 500 HP, remaining very, very close to death, but still alive here. 60 HP as the town center will indeed fall, it seems, as we've got the very low HP citizen going to be coming in here. I'd like to see a building get thrown up straight away. Just throw up an economic guild. You don't need to take the town center straight away. Just make sure there's a building here to make sure your opponent can't take it. But now we've got the Petropolis moving in onto this position. Rapl did actually cast Trader on one of those Heliopoli here, and he's going to be rolling in. Some Peltas actually getting made here by Bird, as Bird is now up to full population. He's got his army over here. Peltas coming through to deal with these champion Arcus. You don't see that very often. Bird's also got himself nearly full iron as well, as the citizen over here has been taken out. These Arcus going to be shooting from afar to finish these units off, but these citizen moving in. One thing that Rapl could think about doing here, if he had the resources, which he doesn't have just yet, but he could definitely be thinking about making these citizen into hero citizen, as we see even more citizen coming in. This is the equivalent of pulling, what is it, 18, 16, 24, 6, 12, 18, no, it's 3. 6 times 3, guys. Yes, 18 villages. This is the equivalent of pulling 18 villages onto a town. That took me way too long to work out. What can you do? Town center on the way for Rapl right now. He's probably going to get it up, to be honest. But the problem is going to be running into is that this town center is not as easily defended as you might think. And we'll see how it's going to go. Town center slowly but surely on the way up, as we do see a military barracks going to get thrown down here to make sure his opponent can't take it. We've got some units coming through for Bird, as he's going to try and move through and prevent the town center from going up. If any of these were hero citizen here, I'm sure this would have come up. A whole bunch of Arcus not actually firing just yet, as Bellerophon going to come through. And Bellerophon is a scary unit if you're an Atlantean player, because every single time this special ability comes in, that's damage onto these citizen. The town center here does get abandoned for the time being here, as Bellerophon going to be jumping in, not really doing all too much just yet. Another Colossus coming through for Rapl and for Bird. Bird's now making more and more Colossus here, as that final Colossus, or final trader it seems, has been used. Oh no, that's still the first. That must still be the first Colossus, as Rapl healed him back up on the gold mine. Utilizing those special abilities, very, very smart here. But it seems like Bird has come over here just in the nick of time to deny Rapl getting this town center up. We see that final trader coming down for Rapl, as he's going to have 2 Colossus now to help him fight back against Bird. And let's see if it's going to be enough here, as this stray Bellerophon not getting microed at all in this game at this point. Gonna go down. That's a lot of gold kind of getting thrown down the toilet. If you treat your Bellerophon like Ra players treat their Son of Osiris, you will find yourself having a lot more success in the late game. As now Rapl moving back in. Let's see if he's going to go after these houses or not. He is going to go after these houses. Seeing what he can do. Metropolis now going to move over here, finish off this military barracks to give this one back over to Bird. Rapl is not being as annoying, I would say, as most Gaia players here. If he makes these guys into heroes, does he have any armory upgrades? Yeah, he's got good armory upgrades, nearly full armory upgrades. If he makes these into heroes, they go up to some crazy amounts of armor, and you can just sit them here and build buildings like right underneath this town center for days. But it's not really occurring to Rapl here in this game, as more of these engineered Petropoli are coming through. We've got a watchtower coming up. The mana going to be getting taken out over here. We've got one lone Contarius. Probably not going to be enough, especially with watchtowers. No cancellations on the watchtower just yet for Bird. But he does have a lot of resource, so he might be getting researching it fairly soon as more buildings falling on this position. We've got the Bellerophon moving in onto this position, taking down one Arcus very, very quickly here. As more units streaming in for Bird to try and delay Rapl's push, which is completely fine because he is now going after Rapl's town center. Rapl's got no masons, no architects, no Titan shield because he didn't go for Atlas here. As we see the Contarius getting taken down, the town center is seemingly going to be falling as well, which is going to put Rapl down to one town center here. As Bird somehow, some way manages to get himself back into this game. Had this town center come Rapl's way, like when he was attempting the first time, I think he would have been completely fine to push back through here. But because he hasn't been able to, he gave Bird the time he needed to kind of get back into this game and get set up over here. So the town center goes down, the Petropolis go down. And now Rapl here is struggling for food just a little bit. Needs to get that town center back when he can. He's throwing up more watchtowers over here as the Petropolis can be shooting from afar. We do have a nice little wall set up for Bird here to deny this town center for a very, very long time. You have to get fire siphon in here or destroyers to kind of take down these defenses now as more towers and idle citizen in a way coming through here. We do see this Petropolis getting targeted down, but there's another one over here that can just continue to shoot from afar. The town center now attempting to come back up for Rapl as this Petropolis going to be getting taken out. The Myrmidon coming through for Rapl to try and take out these Contarius. Actually a very, very nice try here, but those champion arc is still doing work as they're coming through. You do have to micro these Peltast as much as you can onto enemy archers, or they basically do no damage, and we are seeing that, but they also do die against a handful of Arcus as well from afar. It's the countering of these units is much, much less than you would think, as we see the fortress coming up here for Bird, and the town center still attempting to come up for Rapl, but you see the Petropolis here gets taken out, but not before it manages to shoot 3 of those boulders into the town center to slow it down. And I'm sure Bird's going to be working on a Petropolis out of that fortress. As he is doing so, we see the destroyers coming through to try and take down this wall. They are champion destroyers here, as Bird is trying to micro his Bellerophon. For some reason, it's not really doing anything there. And we see the Contarius coming through the stone walls onto this position here. Some more Peltas swinging in to push Rapl back. Rapl has managed to get his own town center back, which gives him a lot more population to play with. And there goes Bird with the Bellerophon, moving in to take down these citizens. As I said, Bellerophon's scary, man. Against Citizen, he's scary because he's doing 100 hack damage per jump, and the Citizen have what, 34% PS armor, so it's kind of like the Bellerophon is doing something like 66 damage per special attack onto the Citizen. They've only got 160 HP, so you hit a couple of those specials and the Citizen will die. Not only that, you're probably going to get a normal attack off or two before they react. But Bird did manage to get a cheeky side raid there onto that town center that I didn't notice, as what was happening over here seemed to be more important. But nope, he kills the town center and Rapl decides that's enough for him, as the position is 2 lost, it seems. The Toxotes, or not Toxotes, Arcus, not enough to defend this town center, especially without having any of those upgrades that are super important. Like I was saying, for the late game of the Atlantean, especially Gaia. Not only that, but our Gaia player, Rapl, has not set up the trade route, and Gaia's big advantage over the other Atlanteans, apart from having Gaia's lush and having stronger economy in general, is the trade caravans being super fast. They move at like 5 point something speeds, absolutely bonkers. But a very, very nice play here from Bird. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.